Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Sarah Vaccaro, Rapid Transformational Therapist with Rewrite Your Life. Codependency is what we're going to talk about today. Many people who've been in toxic and unhealthy relationships come across this word, and it's not a word that's a fun pill to swallow. It's not something that's fun to admit. It's not a personality trait that you like to throw on your resume. It may be something that you're unaware it's even on your resume. So, what is codependency? Well, codependent adults, like we are now, were once children. Every adult was once a child, and any part of healing goes back to connecting to these parts of you to figure out why it is that you ended up the way that you are today. Whether it's things that you love about yourself or things that you'd rather not about yourself. Where do they come from and what to do and how to change them? So, codependency. Codependent adults once were children, and those children felt powerless for a variety of reasons and many things that they experienced. Oftentimes, they were lied to, they were ignored, they were raised in very chaotic environments. They were people that learned that if you were a good kid, then you got what you needed. And in order to be a good kid, oftentimes you had to do things maybe you didn't want to do. So this led to you ignoring your feelings for the sake of others, oftentimes for the sake of parents. So you had to be the good kid, you had to be the people pleaser, you had to be quiet, you had to be seen and not heard. You could sit down, shut up, and do what I tell you to do. So this meant avoiding our feelings for the sake of others, which meant dealing with more pain, especially later on when this shows up in adult relationships. So acknowledging codependency is not fun. It's not easy either. There's a phenomenal book, I think many of you have probably read it, called Codependent No More by Melody Beattie, that really goes into codependency and how it shows up in your adult life. So when you are codependent, oftentimes you don't know it. I didn't know it at the very beginning until I really spent a lot of time looking there. That book definitely highlighted a lot of it, but then what do you do from there? You don't know it. Like, no one ever said there's so many good traits about this, and no one ever says, hey, stop organizing my life, or don't worry about me, stop giving me money, stop taking care of me or the children, and you are dependent on someone else for all these things. But the thing is, you lack this healthy awareness of yourself and able to manage chaos. You do it in a very way that's kind of that feeling of walking on eggshells all the time. Well, if I just don't make them mad, it's okay. Like, the bills will be paid, and I'll continue taking care of the kids and all these things. And then if I just stop doing these things or start doing what they ask me to do, it'll be okay. But you begin to believe that your feelings are irrelevant, that they don't matter, and you put yourself down here, and everyone else, your kids, your spouse, your boss, your family, everyone else is up here. And this really plays a toll over you over time. And it feels like that your feelings are just irrelevant. The most irresponsible person in the room is everyone else, is your partner, your kids, whoever else it is. So when you are codependent, you'll find that you need validation, you need nurturing, you need understanding, you need empathy, you need comfort, and you need love, and you look for all this outside of yourself and other people. So you tend to manifest these people who become avoidant and withdrawn, and then the more you push, the more you feel like you're earning your place and earning your love. And when you're codependent, the biggest thing is that you ignore your own emotions and your own feelings for the sake of keeping peace. And we've talked about this as before. This is one of those trauma responses, the fourth one, the one that's not as often talked about, called fawn and fawning. There's fight, flight, fight, flight, freeze, and then there's fawn. This fawn links up with this codependency. So as an adult, you start to feel things are very unfulfilling, very chaotic, they're very painful, but you push all these feelings down for the sake of keeping the peace and staying in this relationship. And when you're an adult, it often implies that as a child, your feelings were irrelevant or inconvenient. Maybe, it just you grew up in a household where there was chaos. Even if you didn't, maybe you felt that you were mocked or you were undervalued or devalued, criticized. And so perhaps your parents were well intended, like mine were. I have phenomenal parents. So, but there's a lot of things that happen, and they were well intended, but most parents, they miss the mark. And I know that I fell short of this as a parent as well. They assumed it was okay to say things like, I'll give you something to cry about, or assumed it was okay to you know, just not be there for you, kind of dismiss you, like big girls don't cry, or say things like that, that the words stick in your head and they stick in you and they become part of your inner voice. They maybe thought that sending you to your room and ignoring you while you were crying and, giving you a timeout or whatever it was would make you stronger and would kind of give them a break. But what it really did is tell you inside that your feelings didn't matter and you were unimportant and you had to go be alone, making you really, really needy, like a needy person for this connection to get your feelings validated when you're an adult later on. So whatever the parents' reason is for doing what they did, most parents don't wake up and say, how can I mess up my kid today? The reality is they just have no clue how important it is to nurture a child at the emotional level. Especially today, parents are so stressed with everything that's going on, and it's just like, just give me a minute. And then the child internalizes that their feelings don't matter. It is so important to give yourself healthy, consistent boundaries, tune-ins, and check-ins. And most parents, they just wing it. There is no manual that you also give birth to when you have a child. You just simply have a child and you're left to figure it out. And you figure it out based upon how you were raised. And so that's a part of that generational trauma that just gets passed down. There's oftentimes things that when you're a child, you say, I'll never do that to my kids. And then as a parent later on, you find yourself doing those very same things because it becomes your blueprint, your programming that you fall back on. So this can really just have a turn on you as an adult if you experience this as a child, leaving you powerless, feeling like you don't belong, you don't matter. You're self-reliant as an adult, just saying, oh, I've got this. And in order to get this, you put everyone else above yourself. Parenting is hard. But being a child is even harder. And so as a parent, as an adult now, we have all these unhealed childhood wounds and experiences that we have, and we're just trying to make it through life now in order to heal from this, to heal from codependency and from all of the things that happened to you in your life as a child that are now showing up, manifesting, and expressing themselves in your relationships as an adult, oftentimes with toxic and unhealthy people, with narcissists. And I get asked all the time, what do I do? Like, I'm a shell of myself. Well, what you've got to do is go back. You've got to take a look at that and heal from the experiences that you had. That's what rapid transformational therapy does. And past trauma healing, really going within. You can stop looking outside of yourself in a relationship or another job or whatever it is in order to improve your situation as it is currently. So this is exactly what I love helping people with. I just shared a powerful testimonial today, so if you haven't seen that, go check out my last post. And if this is what you're looking for, or anybody that you know, I would love to connect with you. So thank you guys. I hope this helps explain a little bit more about codependency.